The stars above the Council of Nine shone cold and bright. They floated far beyond time, beyond war. These were the oldest rulers of the galaxy, leaders of 1,000 species. For over 10,000 years, they had kept peace through fear, power, and control. But now something was wrong. In the large chamber of the Galactic Council, voices were rising. They disappeared again? Counselor Grulk asked, his 6 eyes wide with shock. Yes, answered Admiral Voth. The 3rd scout ship in 2 months. Same area, same silence. Everyone looked at the holographic map floating in the center of the room. A red blinking zone marked the edge of a small yellow star system. It was labeled Sol, Earth. Someone whispered. The name fell like a ghost into the room. No one liked to speak about Earth. No one really knew what happened there. It was supposed to be a primitive world full of violent creatures called humans. Long ago, someone had tried to reach them. Ships were sent. Ambassadors, too. Then, silence. Since then, Earth was avoided, unexplored, forgotten. Until now. 2 weeks earlier, the ship Watcher 7 flew close to the edge of the Sol system. It belonged to the Turnak species, known for spying and collecting secrets. Coming close to Earth's orbit, said Pilot Erkin. His 4 fingers tapped nervously on the control panel. His partner, Leva, looked outside through the ship's viewing port. I don't like this. I heard stories. Ships vanish here. Stories don't matter, Erkin replied. Data does. The ship moved in. It passed Saturn, then Jupiter. It reached Mars. Still, no sign of danger. Approaching Earth, Erkin whispered. They turned on scanners. No signals. No radio waves. No signs of cities or ships. Are they dead? Leva asked. Maybe, Erkin said. Let's get closer. But as they did, something strange happened. The ship's lights flickered. The computers showed static. Then the engine stopped. Systems failing, Erkin shouted. We're being pulled. The last thing they saw was a small figure floating in space. Far ahead. It was human. No suit, no oxygen. Just a man. Smiling. Then everything went black. Now, in the Galactic Council. This cannot continue, said Counselor Varl. 3 scout ships lost in the same system? That is not chance. Counselor Krim, the oldest among them, stood up. His voice shook the chamber. There's something you don't know, he said slowly. Something buried long ago. Earth was not always ignored. There was once contact. Everyone stared. Before your time, the Shroud invaded Earth, he continued. The galaxy's worst killers, even they feared nothing. But they feared Earth. What happened? Someone asked. Krim shook his head. They went to destroy the humans. But after that battle, they never returned. One survivor came back. He was mad, screaming. He died in silence. After that, no one spoke of Earth again. In a hidden research station, a young alien named Kelver watched the Council's conversation from a secret feed. He was a truth seeker, a historian, and most of all, a rule breaker. Earth, why do you scare them? He whispered to himself. Kelver had read the hidden files. He had seen the warnings. But he wanted more. He wanted answers. So, he launched a secret probe. The probe was small, no weapons, no lights. Just a camera and a transmitter. It flew silently past the edge of the Sol system. Past Pluto. Past Neptune. As it neared Earth, strange readings began. Time moved slower. Signals bent. Then, a voice came through the transmission. Who watches? Kelver froze. The probe was not supposed to be seen. Who watches? The voice repeated. Then the camera turned on by itself. Kelver saw Earth. Blue, green, full of clouds. But then, the screen zoomed in, and he saw a man floating in orbit. Alone. Smiling. The man looked straight at the camera. His lips moved. Kelver heard the words, "You should not have come." Then the signal ended. 3 days later, Kelver couldn't sleep. He replayed the video again and again. No species should survive in space without a suit. No one should know where a hidden probe was. He went to his friend, a technician named Bral. "I need you to decode something," he said. "Private," Bral frowned. "This is a forbidden zone, Kelver. You know the penalty." "Just help me," Kelver begged. They checked the signal frame by frame. Something was hidden inside the transmission. A symbol, a human face, eyes full of fire, and one sentence, "We see you." Bral pulled away from the screen. "This is not natural, not science. This is something else," Kelver whispered. "What did we do to them?" Back in the council chambers, a new report arrived. A shroud ship was spotted. It was heading toward Earth. This was impossible. The shroud had not been seen in 150 years. Everyone panicked. What if they want revenge? One shouted. Double quotes, "No. What if they want peace?" Said another. But the truth came fast. The shroud ship neared Earth. It stopped, then turned around. Then sent one message to the galaxy: "Forgive," and exploded. No survivors. No reason. Kelver sat alone in his dark room. He played the last message again. He stared at Earth's image. Something inside him changed. Humans didn't fight back with weapons. They didn't need to. They just watched. And whatever was inside them made even the galaxy's worst monsters turn and flee. Kelver wrote one line in his journal: "They are not feared because of what they might do. They are feared because of what they already survived in deep space." A human sat in silence, watching the stars. He smiled. "They're finally starting to remember," he said softly. Then he disappeared, just like the ships. 200 years ago, before the silence, before the fear, Earth was loud. Humans were everywhere, building, fighting, growing. They reached the stars with fire and dreams. They joined the galaxy. Or so they thought. The Galactic Council once welcomed Earth with open arms. But Earth did not trust easily, and the Council watched them with quiet eyes. Humans were fast learners, too fast, and then they vanished. Officially, Earth chose isolation protocol. But that was not the truth. The real story was buried. Present Day Research Station ZARNOK-17KELVAR couldn't stop thinking about Earth since the probe vanished and the shroud ship self-destructed. Fear had gripped the galaxy, but Kelver felt something else. He felt pulled. He began searching old records, deep, hidden files that no one accessed in centuries. One file was marked Operation Glass Sky. It was locked. "Bral, I need your help again," Kelver said. Bral looked nervous. "This is ancient, military classified. You're risking everything." Kelver smiled. "I'm not afraid of secrets. I'm afraid of lies." After 2 days of decoding, the file opened. A video began to play. It showed Earth on fire. Flashback, year 4827. Galactic Time. Dark fleet moved toward Earth. Over 50 warships. Black as night. No lights. No sound. They were not from the Council. They were the Shroud, a race of perfect killers. No mercy, no peace. Just death. Their goal: test Earth. If humans survived, they would be accepted. If not, erased. The Council watched, hidden. Not helping. At first, humans fought with ships, weapons, nukes. But the Shroud kept coming. Then humans stopped fighting with fire. They fought with something else. The video showed a new kind of weapon. Not physical. Psychological. The humans sent something into Shroud. Minds. Memories. Real ones. Painful ones. They showed the Shroud their history. Wars, slavery, torture, betrayal, rage. The Shroud had never seen such horror. In their own language, they wrote, "They are chaos wrapped in flesh." The Shroud fled. Only one came back, and he didn't speak. He screamed, then died. The Council erased the war. They told the galaxy nothing happened. Earth agreed, on one condition: Leave us alone." And so silence began, back to present. Research Station Kelver's hands were shaking. He looked at Bral. "They hid all of this." Bral nodded slowly. "They didn't just win a war. They broke the mind of an unstoppable enemy." Kelver whispered, "But why did they stop talking? Why silence themselves?" Bral said one word. Meanwhile, in a forgotten corner of the galaxy, an old, broken creature floated in zero gravity. Half machine, half shroud, he had survived. Earth, and he still remembered. He spoke to himself every day. They showed us what we were, what we could become, and we ran. He opened a box. Inside was a human photo, a family, smiling. He wept. "We tried to kill them. And they made us look inside." Back in the council hall, panic was rising. "Humans should never return," shouted Counselor Dron. "They're too dangerous." "They're too powerful," added another. But Krim, the old counselor, stood. Again. "No," he said. "They are not monsters. We are the ones who treated them like prey." "But they frightened the Shroud," Dron said. "Yes," Krim replied, "because they survived themselves." Kelver made a choice. He copied all the hidden files. He put them in a message capsule. He wrote a warning. They did not disappear. They were never gone. You just closed your eyes. Then he launched the capsule into the public network. The truth was out, across the galaxy. People watched the old videos. Earth burning, Shroud running, humans crying as they sent their worst memories. As weapons. The fear spread again, but so did curiosity. What kind of species chooses to end a war by showing pain? What kind of mind thinks like that? Kelver received a message, encrypted. Unknown sender. Just 2 words, "You see." He knew it was from Earth. They were watching. Again. Always. In deep orbit around Earth, a small human ship drifted silently. Inside, a woman sat at a console. Her eyes were calm. Her hands steady. She saw the news spreading. The secrets unlocked. She smiled. "Good," she whispered. "Let them remember." Then she sent a single signal into space. "We're still here. Council emergency meeting. 1 week later, we must act." Counselor Dron shouted, "What if Earth attacks?" "They won't," said Krim. "How do you know?" Dron asked. "Because if they wanted to, we'd already be dead." Silence. In Kelver's room, he stared at a map of the galaxy. Earth sat at the center. Alone. Untouched. He whispered, "You won the war, but lost the trust." And then he asked the question that haunted him. What made them this way? Somewhere on Earth, children played in green fields. Old ones told stories. Skies were calm, but deep below the surface, in bunkers of steel and memory, humans remembered. They remembered the war. They remembered being used. They remembered everything. They waited. Not for revenge. Not for conquest, but for the day the galaxy would return. Final. Seen a new probe entered Earth's orbit. Silent. Scanning. It was not destroyed. It was returned with a message. We remember too. Deep space. Outer Rim trade route. The cargo ship Lightcatcher was late. It should have reached Station 94 days ago. But no word had come. No signal. No request for help. The Galactic Council sent a small search ship, Raven 2, to investigate. Inside Raven 2 were 4 crew members, Kelver among them. He had insisted on joining. He needed answers. "Ship detected," said the pilot. "Drifting near Sector 43, close to Sol System." "Show visuals," Kelver ordered. The screen lit up. There it was, the Lightcatcher. Large, gray, silent. Floating in space like a ghost. No visible damage, the pilot said. But no. Signs of life. Kelver narrowed his eyes. Move in slowly. Boarding the derelict, the team wore protective suits as they entered. Lightcatcher through the docking bay. It was quiet. Too quiet. The lights were dim. Power low, but everything else was clean. No blood. No signs of struggle. Just silence. Kelver looked around. Where's the crew? They searched all corridors, the kitchen, the command deck, the sleeping quarters. Nothing. Not even bodies. Then they found the message room. Words were written on the walls, over and over again. Big, sharp, carved deep into the metal. Watched. The pilot stepped back. What does it mean? Kelver said nothing. They reached the control room. The captain's log was still active. They played the final recording. Captain's log, last entry. We passed near Earth's orbit. No contact. Then ... we saw something. First it was a light. Then shadows. One of us began to scream. He said he felt a presence in his head, not a voice. A memory, but not his own. He begged us to leave. Then he vanished, just vanished. We turned around. But it was too late. I think they saw us. No, I think they showed us something. I don't remember what it was, but I can't forget it. They watched us, and now we watch them. Suddenly, all lights went off. Darkness. Then a whisper came through the coms. A voice, faint, cold. You wanted to see. Kelver froze. Who's there? No answer, just breathing. Then the voice returned. We remember your faces. Do you remember ours? The ship's screens flashed. Dozens of images. Human faces. Some smiling, some crying. Some ... empty. Then one image zoomed in. A human boy. Maybe 12 years old. His eyes were pure black. He stared directly at Kelver, and he spoke. Come closer. And remember. Then the screen cracked. Back on Raven 2. They ran back to their ship. As they flew away, the light catcher began to break apart. Not explode. Just ... fall to pieces. Like something had eaten it from inside. No energy surge. No weapon fire. Just decay. Like time had moved differently. Kelver stared out the window. They didn't attack. No, said the pilot. They warned us. Later, Galactic Council briefing room. Kelver presented the recordings. Many couldn't watch. Some wept. Some vomit. One counselor whispered. It looked into me, through the screen. It saw everything I've done. Another shouted, this is sorcery, this is evil. Kelver stood calmly. This is not sorcery, he said. This is memory. Human memory. They don't need weapons. They just show us ... ourselves. Browell met Kelver outside the chamber. That boy, he said. The one on the screen. I've seen him before. Where? Kelver asked. In an old Earth file, Browell said. He was part of a project called EchoMind. Kelver's eyes widened. What was that project? He asked. Brl. Swallowed. It wasn't a weapon. It was a mirror. They built something that reflects your worst truth back into your mind. Kelver whispered. That's why they never attacked again. Meanwhile, far away on Earth, the same boy, the one from the screen, walked through a ruined city. He wasn't a child anymore. His eyes still black, but his face was calm. He reached a chamber full of machines. He touched a glowing stone, and hundreds of memories, alien and human, flowed through the walls. He spoke softly. They forget what we are. Let them remember. A new signal launched from Earth. Simple. A voice, not a threat, a question. Do you wish to forget again? The council didn't reply. They were too scared, but Kelver did. He sent one word. No. Later that night, Kelver's quarters had a dream. He was floating in space. Alone. Then he saw her, the human woman from the earlier message, the one who said, "We're still here." She looked at him. And said, "Good, you're ready." Then everything burned. He woke up shaking, his hands glowing faintly. A human fingerprint was burned into his palm. Final scene. Somewhere on a quiet moon, an old man stared at the stars. He was once a leader of the Shroud. He whispered to no one. They never used force. They just opened the door to our truth. In the deep void long ago, the Shroud feared nothing. They moved across galaxies like shadows, killing, erasing, devouring. Planets burned behind them, civilizations collapsed before them. Their minds were connected, their will unbreakable. Then they reached Earth. They entered human minds, and everything changed. Present day. Kelver's research room. Kelver stood alone. He stared at the recording from the light catcher. He replayed the face of the human boy, the black eyes, the calm voice. He whispered, "What did they see that broke them?" Bral entered the room. His face was pale. "I found it," he said. Kelver turned. "Found what?" "The full archive. From the Earth conflict, the Shroud memory bank. A backup from the only Shroud survivor." Kelver's heart pounded. "It still exists?" Bral nodded. "One copy, hidden under 10 encryption walls. I unlocked it." He placed a crystal memory chip on the table. Kelver touched it. "The memory begins." He saw the Shroud's invasion fleet, thousands of ships heading to Earth. He saw them landing, human cities burning, humans dying. Then silence. The sky turned red. The Shroud tried to enter human minds, to crush their thoughts. But what they found inside was not fear. It was violence. Raw. Deep. Personal. They saw a man lighting his family on fire in a civil war. A child soldier laughing as he held a rifle taller than himself. A woman carving words into her skin just to be remembered. A leader pushing a red button, launching missiles, knowing millions would die. The Shroud tried to stop the connection, but it was too late. The images kept coming. Wars. Torture. Slavery. Genocide. Humans didn't hide their darkness. They carried it with pride. One Shroud commander screamed, "They are not like the others." Another said, "They do not fear death. They understand it too well." Then the worst came. The Shroud saw not just what humans did to others, they saw what humans did to themselves. And that broke them. Memory ends. Kelver stepped back, sweating, his eyes wide. Bral stood in silence. Kelver whispered, "They didn't just survive horror, they became it." Bral replied, "No, worse, they mastered it." Elsewhere, Galactic Council debate. The chamber was full of fear. They must be stopped before they return. One shouted, "They haven't hurt anyone," Krim argued. "We're the ones who pushed them away." Another counselor said, "If they return, they'll break the galaxy the way they broke the Shroud." "No," Krim said slowly. "The Shroud broke because they looked at humans and saw themselves." Kelver sent a message to Earth, encrypted. Simple. "Why did you show them those memories?" He didn't expect a reply, but one came. Voice message: female human. "They came into our minds thinking they would scare us, that they would rule us. So we showed them what real fear looks like, our fear, our pain, our past. They broke because they were still innocent. We lost our innocence long ago. But we survived. That is our crime. That is our strength." On a hidden Shroud moon, the last surviving elder of the Shroud sat in darkness. He had once led the invasion of Earth. He no longer spoke to others. He only wrote, over and over, one sentence: "Their children are born with the eyes of soldiers." Kelver sat in a dark room, shaking. He asked himself, what kind of species turns its own pain into a weapon? He wrote in his log, "Humans do not kill for sport. They kill for memory. They kill to never forget." Earth deep bunker. The black-eyed boy stood before a large wall. Images of Shroud creatures, broken and afraid, flickered across the screens. A human woman stood beside him. "They're remembering now," she said. "Good," the boy replied. "We never wanted war. Then why show them all that?" The boy's voice was calm. "Because they came into our minds without permission." In the skies above Earth, a small council probe hovered. It sent one message: "We wish to talk." Earth replied, "Then come down with truth, not weapons." Final scene. Kelver, now older, stood at the edge of a cliff on Earth. He looked down at the forests, the rivers, The cities rebuilt from ashes. A human child stood beside him. No more than 10 years old. The child looked at him and said, "Are you scared of us?" Kelver looked into the child's eyes, not black, not angry, just sad. He shook his head. "No," he said softly. "I'm scared of what we made you become." The galaxy held its breath. For 150 years, no shroud ship had moved. They had become silent, like ghosts hiding in the dark dot after Earth showed them its darkness. The shroud vanished. But now, one of them was back. A single ship, massive, silent, moving. Toward Earth dot and the galaxy panicked. Galactic Council Emergency Assembly. "They are going to attack," Counselor Drawn shouted. "This is revenge." Krim, the old counselor, stood slowly. If they wanted revenge, they would not come alone. Kelver was also present. He watched silently. The hologram showed the shroud ship, black, long as a moon. Powered by ancient energy, its path was clear, straight toward Earth, and it was not slowing down. Kelver's private log. They broke once before. Now they return, not with fire, but with silence. What will they do this time? Earth, command. Center beneath the surface, the human leaders watched the ship approach. They said nothing. No weapons were activated. No missiles prepared. Only one signal was sent. "We are not your enemy." The shroud ship did not respond. Orbit. The shroud arrives. The black ship reached Earth's orbit and stopped. No sounds. No messages. No attack. Just waiting. For 3 full days, Kelver was granted permission to send one message. He chose his words carefully. "Why have you come?" This time, the shroud answered. A single word appeared on every council screen across the galaxy. "Remember." On the 4th day, without warning, the shroud ship turned away from Earth. Its engines lit up. But instead of jumping to hyperspace, the ship powered up its core. A countdown began. 10, 9, 8. Kelver's heart pounded. No, they're not leaving. They're going to... The ship exploded, but not like any normal blast. There was no fire. No destruction. Just light. A soft white light that spread slowly, gently. It touched Earth's atmosphere and disappeared. Not a weapon, a message, a farewell. Brow ran into Kelver's room with a data report. "They released something before they exploded," he said. "A transmission, ancient language." Kelver read the decoded words aloud. "We saw your pain. We carried your memories. We cannot carry them anymore. Forgive us. We tried to understand. We failed. Goodbye." The galaxy cried out. Some called the act cowardice. Others called it wisdom. But most stayed silent, because something had changed. The shroud, feared by all, had come to Earth, and instead of attacking, they ended themselves, and not in hate. In surrender. Earth's response was short, one simple message. "We accept your apology. No joy. No celebration. Just peace and remembrance." Later, Council Debate Room. Krim spoke. "The monsters we feared were only mirrors, and the mirror broke." Counselor Drawn whispered, "If Earth can break them, what are humans really made of?" Kelver replied, "They are made of pain and mercy and memory. The question is, can we face the same?" Earth, black-eyed boy's chamber. The boy stood before the image of the destroyed shroud ship. He didn't smile. He didn't speak. He just bowed his head. Behind him, the woman asked, "Why did they come?" He answered quietly, "Because they remembered what it felt like to be innocent." Kelver's final log entry for the day. "I once wanted to study humans. Now I wonder if I'm even ready to understand them." The shroud came to destroy. They left with tears. And in that act, they became more human than ever before. Final scene in a forgotten part of the galaxy. A shroud child, the last of his kind, opened his eyes. He looked at the stars and whispered, "They forgave us. Now we must forgive ourselves." Kelver had crossed the line. He had studied Earth from a distance. He had watched their silence. He had read their warnings. He had seen the shroud break before them. But now, he was going in, against orders, against reason, against fear. Raven 3. A small explorer ship, Kelver sat alone in the cockpit. The stars outside were calm, but his heart was not. He entered Sol System quietly, no lights, no weapons. Only one message was sent toward Earth. I do not come to harm. I come to understand. There was no reply, but Earth didn't shoot him. Down. That was answer enough. Approaching Earth, he passed the gas giants. Jupiter's storm watched him like an eye. Saturn's rings whispered ancient songs. Then came Mars, red, quiet, lifeless, and finally, Earth. Blue, green, cloud-wrapped. Alive. Orbiting Earth. Kelver slowed the ship. Everything was still. No defense systems, no ships, no satellites. Just a message waiting in orbit. A soft voice played through his ship's speakers. If you are here to hurt us, please turn back. If you are not, come and remember. The words were calm, not a threat, not a welcome, just truth. Kelver's voice cracked. I'm ready. Landing on Earth, he chose a flat green field near a river. The ship touched down gently. He stepped outside. Slowly. The air smelled fresh. Real. He looked around, expecting soldiers, cameras, watchers, but no one came, only wind. Walking into the forgotten world, he walked along broken roads. He passed empty cities. No smoke, no rubble, just stillness. Buildings covered in vines. Cars stopped mid-motion. Shops filled with dust. Time had not destroyed these places. Time had protected them. He reached a human memorial. It stood in the middle of a silent town square, a statue of a child, holding the earth in their hands. On the base, one sentence. We chose peace when all we knew was pain. Kelver felt his throat tighten. He looked around. Still no people. Still no sound. He whispered, "Where are you?" The first human appears from the edge of the trees. A woman stepped forward. Old, calm, eyes full of stories. Kelver did not move. She stopped 5 steps away. She said nothing, just waited. Then Kelver spoke. "I'm sorry." She smiled gently. "For what?" "For how we treated you, for fearing you, for forgetting you." She nodded. "That is why we let you in." They walked together. The woman guided him through fields, forests, old homes. He saw no weapons. No armies. Just life. Fruit growing, rivers flowing, wind singing through trees. She said, "We had war once, then silence. Now we wait." "For what?" Kelver asked. She looked at the sky. "For when they stop being afraid of us and start understanding us." They reached an underground vault. It opened with a quiet hum. Inside were screens, books, memory banks, all untouched. "This is our truth," she said. Kelver walked through slowly. Each screen showed a memory. Some beautiful, laughter, music, love. Some horrifying, war, cruelty, hate. Kelver watched it all. He did not turn away. The woman said, "We are not just one thing. Neither are you." He saw a recording of the first contact, humans smiling, aliens offering peace, then betrayal. A battle, a scream, then silence. He turned to her. "Why didn't you fight back harder?" She replied, "Because revenge is easy, healing is harder." Child walked in, eyes bright. No fear. The same child from the council visions? No. Different. But familiar. The child held a flower and gave it to Kelver. He took it with shaking hands. The woman said, "Our children are taught everything, the good, the bad, the truth." Kelver asked, "Even the war?" "Especially the war," she replied. "Because forgetting is how it starts again." Before leaving Earth, Kelver stood alone near a lake. He sent a message to the council. They are not hiding. They are healing. They are not dangerous. They are honest. The stars above him sparkled gently. And for the first time in a long time, he felt peace. In orbit, Leaving Earth as he lifted off, he saw a group of humans waving up at the ship. No guns, no fear, just hope. Kelver's final log of the mission. They do not seek war. They do not want worship. They only want to be left whole. To be seen. To be remembered. Not as monsters. Not as weapons. But as survivors who chose peace when they had every reason not to. Final scene in the council hall. Kelver stood before them all. I went to Earth, he said. Gasps, anger, curiosity. I walked their roads. I saw their pain. I saw their peace. Someone shouted. And what did they say? Kelver looked up, voice clear. Nothing. They didn't need to. They lived their message. The time had come. The Galactic Council Hall was filled with voices, not arguments. Not debates. Fear. Raw, quiet fear. Because today, they had to decide. One vote. One choice. Humanity. Friend or threat. The counselors took their seats. There were 72 members, each from different worlds. The hall was shaped like a circle. Stars floating above. Systems mapped in glowing light. At the center, Kelver stood. He had returned from Earth. He had walked among humans. He had no weapons. Just words. Counselor. Dron spoke first. He stood, tall and shaking. They are dangerous, he said. They broke the shroud. They control memory. They do not use guns. They use minds. That is worse. The crowd murmured. They are not like us, he continued. They are something else. He sat down, breathing hard. Counselor Krim stood next, the oldest among them. He did not raise his voice. They are not like us, he said. But maybe that is not a curse. Maybe it is a chance. He looked around the room. We judge them for their pain while hiding our own. We call them monsters because they survived what we could not. Kelver was called to speak. He walked to the center, calm, focused. He looked each counselor in the eye. Then he began. Kelver's speech. I went to Earth. I walked in their fields. I sat beside their children. I entered their memory vaults. I saw what you all fear. He paused. And I understand now. You do not fear what they might do. You fear what they already did, and what it says about you. Murmurs filled the room. Kelver continued. They chose peace. Not because they are weak, but because they know what war truly costs. He held up a small data crystal. Inside this are human stories, not battles, not weapons, just lives. He placed it in the center. Listen before you vote. And ask yourself, would you have chosen mercy after being betrayed by your own galaxy? One by one, the council voted. Each stood, spoke one word. Accept, reject, accept, reject. Tension built. The chamber was silent as the votes added up. 36 to 35. The next vote would decide it all. All eyes turned to Counselor Varl, a quiet leader from a planet destroyed long ago. He had never spoken in a vote before. Now he stood. Everyone leaned in. Counselor Varl spoke. When my planet was destroyed, no one came. Not even the humans. I hated them for it. He paused. Then I watched their messages. I saw their world, and I realized they were destroyed too, but they stood back up. He looked up. Eyes full of tears. I vote. Accept. The chamber went silent. 37 to 35. Earth was accepted. But not everyone clapped. Counselor Dron stood and shouted, "You are all fools. They will destroy us from the inside." Krim stood beside him. "No," he said. "They will teach us how to survive ourselves." Dron turned to Kelver. "Mark my words," he said. "You have opened the door to something we do not understand." Kelver answered calmly. "Then it's time we start learning." A signal was sent to Earth. Simple. Official. Humanity is welcome to return to the galactic table. We seek peace. Earth responded with one sentence. We never left. We were just waiting. Elsewhere, on Earth, the black-eyed boy stood beside the old woman and watched the stars blink. She asked, "Did they choose wisely?" The boy smiled. They chose truth. Back in the council hall, Krim sat quietly beside Kelver. "Do you think they'll actually join us?" Krim asked. Kelver nodded. "Yes," he said, "but not with flags. Not with armies. They will come one at a time, quietly, carefully. And when they arrive, they will bring not just peace, but understanding." Final scene somewhere deep in space. A new ship launched. Small. Human. Its name was painted in bold white letters. Echo 1. Inside. A human pilot smiled. Beside him, a small hologram of Earth spun slowly. He whispered, "Let's go home." It started with one ship. A single human vessel entered council space. No weapons. No escort. No fear. The name painted on the hull. Echo Owen E. Inside was a pilot named Saren Vale, calm, sharp, and silent. She was Earth's first envoy in 150 years. The galaxy watched. Every station, every channel, every eye turned toward her arrival. Council hall, welcome ceremony. Saren walked alone into the great chamber. No guards. No mask. Only one symbol on her chest. A black circle, lined in white. The human emblem of memory and mercy. Counselors whispered. Some leaned back. Some stared. And then she spoke. Saren's first words. "You feared us for what we endured. You feared us for what we became. But we did not come to be feared. We came to help you remember yourselves." The chamber went quiet. No one dared to interrupt. She continued. "Humanity has returned, not to rule, not to revenge, but to heal. What fear has broken?" Behind her, doors opened. More humans entered. Different ages, different colors, different voices. Some were scholars, some were artists, some were just quiet watchers. They brought no armor, no soldiers, only stories they gave. Every counselor a crystal. Inside, each was a memory. Not of war, but of kindness and chaos. A soldier carrying a dying enemy through fire. A child sharing bread during a siege. A doctor crying after failing to save a stranger. Simple things, but true. Kelver watched with awe. He whispered to Krim, "They're not just sharing history, they're sharing soul." Krim nodded. "And we don't know how to hold it." Across the galaxy, changes began. On Zarnok 17, researchers paused their shroud experiments. They started studying human ethics instead. On Wohler Prime, prisoners were no longer erased. They were allowed memory reform, inspired by Earth's deep therapy systems. On Telvany Moon, the word human became a verb. To human meant to carry pain and still offer peace. But not all were happy. Counselor Drawn had gone silent for days. Then he reappeared with a warning. "Mark my words. They have not changed. They have evolved." He showed a new data scan. Human neural structures. Growing stronger in strange ways. They are thinking faster. Feeling deeper. They will outpace us all. But no one listened now. Fear no longer ruled the chamber. Earth's first gift. Humanity offered no ships, no tech, no weapons. They offered one thing. A library. It was placed on a neutral station. Open to all. It contained only memories. Real ones. From every war, every peace. No filters. No lies. Some pages were too hard to read, but others. Brought tears. One story showed a human soldier hugging an alien child after killing the child's father by mistake. The title of the story? "I stayed so he wouldn't cry alone." The galaxy was quiet for days. No wars. No invasions. No threats. Just reading. Just remembering. Kelver traveled to Earth again. He wanted to understand more. This time, Earth sent someone to guide him. Not a general. Not a leader. A child, 12 years. Old. Quiet. Thoughtful. Her name was Luma. She asked him only one question. "Do you dream?" Kelver paused. "I used to," he said. She nodded. "Then we can begin." Through Luma's eyes, Kelver saw things differently. She took him to a place underground. Not a bunker. A vault of memories. Their people came to share their worst thoughts, their fears, their regrets, and they left lighter. This is where we keep our monsters, Luma said, so they don't become real. Kelver sat and wept. He saw a recording of a man who bombed a building and then spent the rest of his life rebuilding homes. He whispered, "You don't erase your killers," Luma replied. "We change them, or they change us." Meanwhile, Counselor Dron disappeared days later. A ship was found drifting. Dron was inside. Alive. But quiet. He had gone to Earth. Alone. He left behind a note. "I saw their truth. It was not what I feared. It was what I lost long ago." The galaxy shifted. Empires became federations. Enemies became questioners. And Earth became a mirror. Not a leader. Not a god. A reminder of what suffering can create, of what mercy can become. Years passed. Humans never asked for control. They only asked to be heard. They joined no armies, but their songs filled stations. Their books healed minds. Their silence taught more than most speeches. The final scene. Echo 10. The 10th human diplomatic ship floated toward a forgotten world. On board, a single man played a violin in zero gravity. An alien child listened. And smiled. Kelver's final log. Years later, we thought they were dangerous. We were right, but not because they could kill. Because they could show us who we are without firing a shot. Last words on screen. ****. We feared them. We fought them. We broke them. And they returned, not to hurt us, but to remind us that survival is not power. It is memory, held gently. And from that day forward. We were never the same again.